The markets have been going wild the past month. While most new investors are watching the markets hit all-time highs and FOMOing in saying that the markets can never go down, the global elites are silently doing another thing and they're preparing for an epic stock market finale. Now there's something very important for you that you have to understand. What did the people of old used to do when there was going to be a major event happening, or someone foretold or prophesied of a major event happening? Well, they would always say, look for a sign. And right now we're getting signals and signs everywhere to show that even though on the surface things look as good as gold, underneath it is rotten to the core. In this video, I'm going to go over some of those signs and signals that there are big shifts coming for the markets and show what's really happening, because again, like I've always warned, if we do keep this crazy inflation and this borderline hyperinflation, stocks will go up in dollar value, but it may not keep up with the costs of goods and services. Because what other countries had a great stock market? Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Argentina, Turkey. But how is their economy and how is their standard of living going? Not great last time I checked. But of course, this could all be about to change. So let's get into these signs and signals right now. Okay, so first things first, I'm sure you've already seen some videos on it, but I'm going to break down why this is the tip of the iceberg. We're going to go over how Warren Buffett's cash pile has hit a record of roughly $150 billion. That's right. He's not just sitting on, $1 billion. He's sitting on $150 billion of cash. Now, what are many people saying? They're saying he's lost his touch. He's too old. He doesn't know what's going on anymore. Well, again, people, any rookie could get a few little wins in the short term, but a true master will always win in the long term. And Warren Buffett, his age is getting up there. He's been around. He's seen a few market crashes in his time. And also in his Berkshire Hathaway conference, the most recent one after the 2020 stock market crash, people asked him why he didn't pile in. And he said the reason why, because he actually saw what was going on behind the scenes. He saw the money markets go completely dry. And he also thought that the banks could go under, just like in 2008. So let's have a look exactly what he's doing, and then I'm going to go over some other things that are happening in China, because again, there's some more news that has just come out today. So Berkshire's cash pile hit new heights at 149.2 billion of funds in the third quarter, surpassing a record set in early 2020. The company said in its earnings report Saturday, the fresh high came even as Buffett poured more money into buying back his own stock, with 7.6 billion of repurchases in the period, the third highest tally since the board changed its policy on buybacks in 2018. Now this is another huge thing, because not only is he hoarding huge amounts of cash, he's not investing his money in other stocks or other companies or in the broader market. He's just simply, with his excess cash, and really I'm referring to the company here, they are buying back their own stock because they don't see any good deals and they think everything in the market is strongly overvalued. And again, you even look at his own indicator. The stock market is extremely overvalued with 213% of GDP. Buffett has struggled with a high class problem. Yes, it is a hard problem having too much money in Berkshire pockets and not enough chances to put that to work in higher returning assets, with no major deals in recent quarters. So again, what is that telling us, everyone? He's saying that the market is very dangerous at these levels. And I'll bring up a chart here. We can see how his cash pile has been growing over the years. And I'll bring up another chart here to shows how much buybacks he's doing. Again, even though he is investing money, he's not investing money in the market. He's just simply buying back his own stock to boost their company's balance sheet. And also they've put out a warning, something that we've been talking about on the channel a lot. And again, this is how it's affecting businesses in the real world. They reported that several of their businesses experience high materials, freight, and other input costs attributed to the ongoing disruptions in the global supply chains. But here's something quite concerning. Berkshire's net income fell 66% to 10.3 billion during the third quarter compared to the same period a year earlier. But that's just Warren Buffett. We can't just go off one signal or one sign alone. We need to look at signs from all angles of the markets to make up our mind to see what is really going to happen in the future. Also, some huge news that has come out about Elon Musk proposing to sell 10% of his Tesla stock. So as of June 30th, Musk's shareholding in Tesla came to around 170.3 million shares, and selling 10% would amount to a close 21 billion based on Friday closing, according to Reuters calculations. Now again, some people are just saying he's only doing this for tax reasons, but you know, you got to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Not only he sold, but look what his brother's doing. So just the day before he announced this, look what his brother did. His brother Kimball Musk on Friday sold 88,500 Tesla shares worth nearly $100 million, becoming the latest board member to offload a large number of Tesla stocks, which hit a record high. Now, bring up a chart here of this Tesla stock price. It just seems to defy gravity, and no matter what the valuations are, it just keeps going up and up. It's up around 3,000% over the past few years. But there comes to a point of how much risk is there and how much reward is there. Is there really a chance that Tesla could double to $2 trillion in the next year? Or is it more likely that the stock could fall 20%? Because again, its market cap is $1 trillion. So for it to double again, $1 trillion would have to be invested, lifting the market cap up to $2 trillion, which is quite hard to do. Again, every time a stock doubles, it becomes harder and harder for it to double again, because it takes more and more money for it to double. So I just find this a little bit suspicious, and could this be a bit of insider trading here, where his brother, literally the day before he announced this, sold 88,500 shares worth around $100 million. Very odd to me. Another risk for the markets is this new tax proposal of taxing unrealized gains. That means, for example, if you got a tax rate of 30% and you make $100 in profit, but you haven't sold any stock, normally you could just hold those shares and you wouldn't have to pay tax. But say, for example, your shares go up $100, even if you don't sell, at the end of the year, you're going to have a tax bill of $30. And if you don't have that $30, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to sell the stock. Now, this is being targeted at billionaires. So imagine what would happen if all of a sudden this law did get passed. Now, I think it's pretty unlikely, but if it did, and all these billionaires all of a sudden had to sell a huge amount of these assets at the same financial year, this could cause a huge stock market crash, as there wouldn't be enough liquidity or demand to fill all the selling from all the global elites selling at the same time. And of course, Musk has criticized the proposal, saying eventually they run out of other people's money and they come for you. Now, his net worth is around 300 billion, so I think he's doing all right, and I think he'll still be okay even paying these taxes. But I do agree, if you got a spending problem, it doesn't matter if the government taxes people 100%, if they tax the billionaires 100%, the people 100%, if they keep spending more than they take in, like, you know, any personal finance 101, if, for example, if I go to a job, I earn $1,000 a week. If I spend all that $1,000 and then put the rest on buy now, pay later, put the rest on credit cards, I'm going to be facing a huge debt problem, and eventually I will default. Well, it's no different with the government, and they have a huge debt problem, and taxing people won't fix their spending problem. What they need to do is cut the expenses, make smaller government, become more efficient, and create economic growth instead of just taxing people to death. Another sign that shows that the market is strongly overvalued is the S&P 500 price to earnings ratio. Now, it has come down a little bit, but is still massively over the average. The average is normally 17 to 18 times of the stock market price to companies' earnings. Now, another huge indicator and signal and sign that we need to look at is margin debt, because we can see an almost perfect correlation. When margin debt goes up, the stock market goes up, but when it goes down, the stock market goes down. Now, if the Federal Reserve continues to slow down its asset purchases, now this reduction of $15 billion, it's nothing. They're still printing more money than they did in 2008. So what they really need to do for the markets to have a big reaction like everyone is expecting is they need to bring the asset purchases to zero and actually start tapering their balance sheet, which is when they start actually selling US Treasuries, and that will cause yields on bonds to spike, and people won't want to take on margin debt when interest rates are higher. And that's another catalyst that could send the stock market from a bull market to a bear market very quickly if yields spike unexpectedly. Now, again, I can't stress this enough. I think this is the biggest risk of all right now, and just like all things, you know, it'll come out in the news like what happened in China with Evergrande going down. It'll get a lot of press, but then it'll go quiet for a while and nothing could happen for months. But again, underneath the surface, things are rotting away and nobody will bring it up. Nobody will tell you until boom, we have a Lehman-like moment where all of a sudden a huge financial institution goes under out of nowhere and the markets go down. Well, this is the same situation which is happening in China. We saw Evergrande go down. Their bonds completely sold off to pennies on the dollar. They went down to around 20 cents on the dollar. But now we're starting to see the dominoes fall. We're starting to see the contagion spread. We just got news today that more developers are going under. So China bond route shifts from Evergrande to other big developers. Country Garden Vanke dollar bond fell sharply last week. So I'll bring up a chart here. This is what I talked about, how this could now spread to some of the healthy developers or some of the developers that, you know, didn't have huge debt or liabilities like Evergrande. But again, the contagion, the financial crisis spreads like wildfire. We learned in 2008 of something called counterparty risk. When one institution goes down, it affects the others. We'll look at this. I'll bring up the chart here of Country Gardens bond. It is continually selling off, and also Vanke real estate. It is down 3.5% on its dollar bond due 2029. So what does this mean for you and me in simple terms? Well, this means, like in all market cycles, always there is euphoria, there is a parabolic move at the end, there is so much FOMO, all the retailers jump in at the top, all the dumb money jumps in at the top, and the insiders, the people that have the insider information, I'm sure maybe we'll see some US senators start selling their stocks, or some people at the Federal Reserve start selling their stocks soon, just like, you know, the two Fed chairs did, and now they're retired with their millions. They sell off while they put out their articles in the media to say, you know, that the market can only go up. There's nowhere else to invest. You have to put your money in. You don't have a choice. While the euphoria is going on and all the new investors are piling in at the top, they are silently selling and positioning themselves for the market crash to come and buy up everything for pennies on the dollar and then profit from the next major bull run. And like I said, we have to continue to monitor to see when Evergrande officially defaults. We've seen some issues now happening in the US with Zillow going bust. So the question is, who's next? Now, for all my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.